entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. This is the RBC Heritage Research Picks Breakdown. Guess the odds. We'll have it all here for you, and you can always hit the time codes to jump around. I know the Masters is still going on, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible for people to digest, because I want to get back to watching Augusta as well, because I have this timed out enough to record it, do the research, record it, edit it, and get it out before the leaders actually hit the course here on Saturday. Fingers crossed Shane Lowry can do anything for us, because we can get the first round leader, the biggest bet of Nick Dunlap to miss the cut, and hit a winner. It'll be like the greatest Masters of all time for me. But even though Lowry is my only out in the winner's market at Augusta, still going to be a great week, and I want to thank everyone once again for tuning into everyone. It was the biggest Masters we've had in the 11 years that I've been doing full-blown research and Masters coverage. So thank you all for tuning in. Doesn't hurt to smash a like, sub to the channel, give me your winner of the Heritage down in the description. And for people who are interested in coming to the June 7th live edition of Cuss Corner in Toronto, tickets are now on sale. I sent some privately to people that they could get advance tickets. Anyone who had mentioned that to me, it was released in the newsletter, which you can sub to for free down in the description. But if you want the link, it is down in the description right now. It's going to be me, Cam, Garion, Cust, Rob, and Jeff, all on stage for 2.5 hours. Then we're doing an hour-long meet and greet in the venue after. We might even go out later that night to try to find a place where we can go to. It's at a place called the Rec Room. It's right next to Skydome in Toronto, so super easy to get to. And I know a lot of people are coming in from out of town, and a few people have asked me, like, is it weird if you just buy one ticket and come by yourself? Because, I mean, most podcast listeners, I can just think about the podcasts that I listen to, the podcast my wife listens to. Like, we're not listening to it together. If I was going to go to a live show, I'd go by myself. It's not weird at all, and you end up meeting a good crew of people when you go anyway. So if anyone has any hesitation about going alone, just know most people are coming to this live show by themselves, but it's still going to be a great time. You can meet everyone. We're going to have a hang, and we hope to put on an excellent show for everyone. The link to buy tickets is down in the description right now. It's less than 24 hours into sale, and we've already sold 68% of the tickets available. So if you do want one, I would highly suggest that you get in the game right now. But let me tell you about the RBC Heritage, because Harbour Town is my favorite tournament every year. But it's becoming less and less so. It's still my favorite course on tour, and it's probably the one where I've won the most money historically. I've had some great runs here. Not so much the past 2 years. Scotty won, and then Matt Fitzpatrick won the year before that. I don't think this needs to be a signature event. I hate it as a signature event. One of the great things about Harbour Town golf links is that almost any skill set can actually contend, and that's what made it so fun. And when you shrink the field down and make it no cut, we've just seen, even last year, Scotty won everything. So he ended up winning by 3 strokes after Patrick Cantlay a year ago decided that they had to start late due to winds. It was getting dark. Cantlay hit it to the green on, I think he was on 18. And he's like, nah, I'm calling it quits for the day. I'll come back out and play the rest of it tomorrow. Like, thanks, Patrick. Let's not get this done. Screwing up everyone's content schedule for the entire week. But this course used to be so much fun because you used to get chasers from the back of the pack. Like, there was a run of 8 of 10 years at this tournament where the winner started at least 2 strokes back. Most of them were 4 strokes back. The sight of Kadira winning here was like my first ever big daily fantasy win. I won 20K on DraftKings. I was trying to think about what that lineup was today too, like coming into it. I mean, Kadira and Siwoo were in it because Kadira beat Siwoo in a playoff. And that was the big leverage spot for me because everyone had Siwoo. No one had Kadira except for me. So it swapped down. I think Cantlay, Bryson, Bill Haas, and someone else. I can't remember the last person who was in that lineup. I just remember there was 4 guys in the 10K range, and I full faded them all and just built around those 9K guys, and that ended up being Bryson Cantlay and Bill Haas. So that's just a very fond memory. I remember waking up. It was a weather delay as well, so stuff was happening in the morning. They had to get it all in before the inclement weather could actually come, and I could only listen to it on the radio because at the time you couldn't stream on Peacock or whatever it was. Even on Golf Channel, they weren't using it then. So I was sitting there hungover after my was it my 30th birthday? It may have been my 30th birthday. I was so hung on the couch and like sweating it, but I was also like sweating out all the booze at the same time, just like half passed out on a couch listening to it on the radio, the play-by-play of Kadira just making these putts in the playoff and not realizing, like trying to do the math myself of how much I was going to win. I was stunned. And that win in particular, see, I had the Willett win in 2016. I had that big win. And I mean, that's partially why I was able to continue to break out on my own, just having that money where just I wasn't making that much at the time. It was so much money for me that I was able to take the chance on myself to come do this. And with all your guys' support as well, it's worked out pretty well at this point. We're hosting live shows and it almost sells out in less than 24 hours, which is crazy to think about. Very exciting stuff too. So it's nice to know that people are actually going to come to this thing. But I like the week after we hit Willett, we hit Brennan Grace at this tournament. I hit Spieth here a few years ago. Webb Simpson coming out of the COVID break. This was the second tournament out of the COVID break. Webb Simpson ends up winning in that, and I hit a huge Sergio top 5 in play as well. I hit Wes Bryant as a chaser in the final round. I remember betting him and Dirt McGirt in the final round because I had like no one going, and it was this big thing. It's like anyone from 4 back ends up just coming to win this thing. It's like, all right, let's go with Wes Bryant. See how that works. Ends up hitting a winner. So it's been a very fun tournament for me. I would love to play this course someday. When we get to the flyover here in a minute of the course, no one has a good drone flyover of Harbour Town. If anyone out there has one, can you please send it to me so I don't have to use this weird Google Maps thing of the course that I found that's in SD and it looks like it's from 45 years ago, but that's what we're rolling with to give you a visualization of the course. Problem is now there's only 72 players in the field. There's no cut at this event. And it's a course where driving distance is down across the board. We'll see that when we get into the stats in a little bit. And all of the big names are going to be here. It'll be finalized after the Masters. You're still going to have 72 people, but the Aon Next 10, I believe, is what can still be jumbled a little bit. You can still qualify for this tournament if you end up outside and jump inside that top 10 at the Masters. It's probably only going to be affected by 1 or 2 spots, and it'll be the guys at the very back end of the field. And as of right now, everyone who's anyone appears to be playing in this event. We might get some WDs on the Monday or the Tuesday. That happens every now and then, but I would expect all of the best players to be at Harbour Town the week after the Masters. So let's get to the course. Harbour Town Golf Links is a par 71, 7,213 yards. POA Trevalis Overseed Greens, the second smallest greens on the PGA Tour by a pretty substantial margin, 3,700 square feet is that number. It also has 54 bunkers, and technically there is water in play on each and every hole. The par 3s have an average distance of 202 yards. 3 of the 7 most difficult holes on the course are par 3s, and all 4 of them have an over par rate north of 17%. Scheffler had 3 birdies on the front 9 par 3s throughout the course of the week. That's how you end up winning by 3 strokes at Harbour Town. The par 4s, there's 11 of them. They're all pretty short. 3 of the 4 most often parred holes are par 4s, and they're inside the first 10. 1, 6, and 10 all have a par rate over a very nice 69%. Played the par 4s on the front 9 even for the week. Scheffler was -5 on the par 4s on the back 9 a year ago. There's only 3 par 5s, the average distance 569 yards. 3 of the 4 easiest holes on the property, including number 2, which sees the majority of players go under par, a 50% birdie rate, a 3% eagle rate. The Scheffler played the par 5s a year ago at -3 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's how you beat up the course. It's also one of the few courses on tour. I can't even recall another one like this, where it's all approach, all putting. You know, you need to be good enough off the tee and good enough around the green, but around the green has been more impactful on the top 10 finishers on a per round strokes gained basis than off the tee. You do not see that all that often. Like most Pete Dye courses, overall course strategy from tee to green really needs to be on display more so than your average tournament. Hitting fairways is great and everything like that. The percentage of hitting fairways is very high at Harbour Town, while greens and regulation are quite low. But there's so many trees and overhangs on this course, narrow fairways, very tree lined the entire time, that sometimes it's better to be in the left rough than it is on the right fairway. You need to manage your angles on this course to create better birdie opportunities. With the tiny green, the field only hits the greens at a 58% rate. It's one of the lowest on the PGA Tour. So taking advantage of the proper angles is very imperative to scoring. Focusing on approach and putting is the path to all skill sets this week. And being a Pete Dye course, I mean, we just had We just had Sawgrass. There's Harbor Town, this one, obviously. River Highlands for the Travelers Championship. We don't do Austin Country Club anymore. TPC Louisiana is that team event for the Zurich, which we'll see in a few. The stadium course at La Quinta for 2 rounds of the American Express. And then you have like Crooked Stick, Whistling Straits, Kiowa Island. But the one that really sticks out to me, along with all the die tracks, you have Sea Island, you have the Wyndham Championship, and you have Colonial. And they all have slightly smallish greens, but you've had a lot of crossover between the Wyndham Championship and Harbour Town. Like Webb Simpson has won at both these. I believe Davis Love has won both these. JT Poston has won both these. CT Pan came pretty close at doing the double at some of these in the past. So those would be the ones that I'd really be focusing on. Kevin Kisner's had a good run between Sedgefield, Colonial, Harbour Town, and Wyndham over the course of his career. That might be changed now only because you have all of the best players playing in these events, where that's not the case for Colonial or the Wyndham. It used to be the fields that more resembled these ones, where you'd have 4 or 5 pretty good players, no absolute studs, and the rest of the dudes on the PGA Tour. Most of those guys are now playing in Punta Cana this week, a place where I just was. Checked out the course too while I was there. Harbour Town, as I mentioned, features those tree-lined fairways, and measures on the short side, of course, is just over 7,100 yards, even though it is a par 71. 3 par 5s. Eagles are tough to come by. Hole number 2, as I mentioned, is the 3%. Hole number 5 is a 2%. But those small greens make it very difficult. If you can hit them, you're going to be fine. Pebble Beach is 3,500 square feet per green. Harbour Town is 3,700. TPC Southwind for St. Jude is 4,300. Then the next closest ones, most of them like die courses and some of the ones I just mentioned, all at 5,000. So Pebble and Harbour Town are by far the smallest on tour. It annually ranks as the course with the fewest drives over 300 yards and the shortest driving distance on the PGA Tour at just 273 yards. However, over the past 3 years, since we've seen all of the high-end players and none of the low-end players in the field, guys who actually bomb it off the tee, it's almost 280 now. So it is up since it's become a signature event compared to, but it's still below PGA Tour average of 280 or 284 drives for the tee. Put it this way. On the par 4s at Harbour Town in his career, Dustin Johnson, we'll use him as an example because nothing has changed because he is not playing because he's on live now. He averaged around 286 yards per drive on the par 4, which is well below his average driving distance at almost any other course. That's how you know that the shorter hitters can go and compete with Dustin, because when you have the same similar leaves, you have not necessarily similar clubs, because DJ is still going to hit a shorter iron into a lot of those versus someone like Brendan Todd, but it does equalize the playing field a little bit, and that is how we see a lot of these guys from the back end up competing. If you're hitting your irons well and making all your putts, you can beat Scotty Scheffler at Harbour Town. I mean, not last year you couldn't because he did everything well. 7 of the past 14 years, the RBC Heritage has gone to a playoff, and like I mentioned before, well, it used to be an outlier. It was not an outlier to see big comebacks on Sunday. 4 of the past 5 third-round leaders now, since the fields have started to get stronger, have held on to their either lead or co-lead going into the final. Spieth was the last comeback when he ended up beating Patrick Cantlay in the playoff in 2022. And the difficulty of this course really does depend on the elements. On Hilton Head Island, there's usually a consistent coastal breeze anyway, and certain rounds at Harbour Town can be played in full gale force winds. That is the biggest protection. I mean, if you get it going bad, you can shoot a really bad score, but it's quite gettable for a lot of the players if you're playing well. Of the past 20 rounds at the Heritage, more rounds have been played in winds greater than 17 miles per hour than under 10 miles per hour. So, if you're right around 12, 13, that's what the guys are used to playing on this course. You start ramping it up, then it gets pretty difficult. You can get to Scotty was minus 19. Webb broke the record when he won at minus 20. There was like no wind the week that Webb ended up winning in that second start out of COVID. There's also plenty of scoring, but 12 of the 18 holes do play over par. It's just, if you get it going bad, this course can eat you up, especially with the really small greens. And when Stuart Sink won, he used the Texas wedge. I remember because I had money on Morikawa that week, back when I used to bet Morikawa every single week. This should really be a course where Morikawa wins, by the way, at some point in his lifetime. He plays it every year. He has the perfect skill set for this course. It just doesn't ever work out for him. He ends up when Stuart Sink goes 63-63 in order to win over the first 2 days, he can just cruise on the weekend. But he just left the wedge in the bag from off the greens, and he just putted everything. He was absolutely lights out. That is how you can do it here. You can manage with a bad short game and still gain strokes. It's one of those courses as well. So there's just a lot of ways to attack this course. That's why I like it so much. Let's jump over to fantasynational.com right now. fantasynational.com/Mayo. Get you 20% off all the stats, all the tools, and access to the leaderboard, which you can find right up here when you're a member on the main screen. You click it and you will never, especially after the bad showing the Masters app has put in, I think the Fantasy National Leaderboard app is the premier app to follow golf at this point. There's no video on it, but it'll give you real-time scoring that's usually ahead of the broadcast, and you don't have to go click on players to see what's happening. It will update live for you. It's amazing. It's worth the sub anyway, plus you get all of the tools that goes into everything. So we've already been over the course already, but let's just kind of go down to visualize that just a little bit before we get out of here. On the stats page, you can see pretty level in terms of strokes gained amongst the top 10 finishers amongst par 3s, 4s, and 5. Here's what I mentioned around the green, 0.41 per round positive, 0.37 off the tee. Approach, 0.8, so more than double. Basically, you combine approach, and I believe the closer you get up to the top, if we go to the top 5 finishers, it gets even more pronounced. You gain over a stroke on approach, right around the same around the green, a little bit more off the tee, and almost a stroke putting on this. So you got to be able to generate those birdie opportunities, then you got to make them. You can see the average shot distribution, very few shots from 200 plus. That's not typical for a PGA Tour event. A lot from 175 to 200 and 150 to 175. And then the closer you get in, you're just going to have a lot of shots where you have to save yourself. 4 of the par 4s play over 450 yards. That is not a ton. And all 3 of the par 5s fall in that 550 to 600 yard bucket. We go up and just kind of manipulate it a little bit. You can see 3 of the 4 easiest holes on the course are those par 5s, as I talked about earlier. They all play under par. Number 15 is the most difficult of them. It only has a 27% birdie rate, but there is a 13% bogey rate and a 2% double or worse rate. Very few eagles are made on number 15. Probably has to do with the water lurking. I mean, you can get yourself going bad because of the trees there, but guys still try to take on the green in 2 instead of laying up. But one bad shot puts the ball into the water on the left, and you're absolutely fried on that one, and you gone if that's the case. So the other ones, you have to make. If you're not beating up on number 2 and number 5, you have zero chance of winning this tournament, unless it's one of those weird gale force wins weeks where just making par ends up being pretty good. Because the range of scores and the range of winners has been kind of crazy here. You can see the cut line the past few years. You don't have to worry about that because there is no cut at the Heritage anymore, being a signature event. It's not one of the named ones. So Genesis, API, the next time and the last time that we will have a cut at a signature event will be at Muirfield Village for the Memorial Jacks course. Scrambling high here, greens and regulation low, driving accuracy very high. Guys can go low. The average, or the median, round is 70. So 1 under par, and then it's even par, and then 2 under par. And then you can get some real bad scores, you can get some real low scores, but that's where the main buckets are going to be. And then it's 68 and 72 simply after that. Very few 3-putts per round because the greens are so small. It's just really hard to 3-putt. But guys, missing the green is usually the case. Average green, and that kind of correlates with average green in regulation proximity to the hole as well, only because, again, they're really small greens. You're just inherently going to be closer to the hole if you hit the green. You don't have guys being 100 feet away from the hole because those guys just aren't on the green because the greens aren't that big. If we take a look at the tournament history, Scotty Scheffler won a year ago at 5-1 as the favorite in this field. You can see Sahith was just behind him. I had money on Sahith and Hoagie. What happened to Hoagie here? Hoagie was very much in it. And he ended up coming T18, which is ridiculous. I believe he was inside the top 5 going into like the final 4 holes and absolutely ejected either on 17 or 18. I can't remember exactly which one it is. Classic Tom Hoagie stuff, by the way, when you got money on him. Just like we saw a few weeks ago at Valero. Hey, get him to Sunday. Hey, he's in the mix. Wrong. He gone. Scheffler, Theegala, Cantlay. I mean, Cantlay should win this event before his lifetime is over. He's come inside the top 3 each of the past 3 years, and then even beyond that, dating back to, again, that Kadaira year, because I remember Cantlay, was he the other guy? Yeah, no, I already mentioned that he was one of the guys in it. Heritage. I'll spell it correctly at some point. Yeah, throughout the course of his career, 3rd, 7th, 3rd, miscut, 2nd, 3rd, 3rd. I don't know if you want to go in on him this week or not, but he's Mr. Course history here. He has the most strokes gained of any player. Then it's Fitz, who was the winner 2 years ago, looking pretty good at Augusta as well. He hit a mighty lash on number 5. It was the last thing I saw before I walked in here to record, to hit this banana hook out of the trees, and he put it to like 20 feet. It was an amazing shot. Maybe Fitz is back. Who knows? Harmon coming off the win, obviously coming off the win at Valero, not at Augusta. I don't think he's going to win that. He has the third most strokes gained. Thomas and Berger are after that. So this could also end up being a spot where we all just glom onto Berger at 35 because the win is coming. And maybe it is, but it's just a spot here. Like, let's try to figure this out. Connors has actually been very good here too. It does mitigate some of the bad putting and around the green play because scrambling ends up being so easy. Is that it very few 3-putts, and like I said, you can if you can choose to chip, play a low bump and run, or putt from off the greens, that usually mitigates some of the advantage the elite short game players had. So in 2023, it was Fitz in a playoff over Jordan Spieth. Just a few notes on last year, the 2024, before I move on from that. Of the top 10 finishers, 3 were top 5 around the green. That was Cantlay, Poston, and Morikawa. 7 of the top 8 finishers all gained strokes putting from 15 to 20 feet. In 2023, the finishing positions in order for the top strokes gained approach golfers for the week were 15th, 4th, 2nd, 11th, 31st, 5th, and 1st. 9 of the top 10 and 13 of the top 15 players finished the week at least 1.5 strokes gained on par 3, so they all beat up the par 3s. When Spieth won in 2022, Spieth was top 10 for the week in off the tee, approach, and around the green, and he lost 2.5 strokes putting. So his win was a big outlier because he was so good around the green. And like I said, he nipped Patrick Cantlay in that play. I remember Cam Davis having a ridiculous final day to get everything going for him. He almost snuck into that playoff, but he couldn't quite get there when all was said and done. Stuart Sink was the weird outlier in all of this. He's not even in this tournament anymore. That was the year that Connors, McNeely, and Fitz all came tied for 4th. But 3 of the top 6 putters in the week, they all finished inside the top 5. 11 of the top 15 lost ground on proximity from 200 yards plus. But as we saw, there's not a lot of shots from 200 yards plus, so it wasn't that big of a deal. This could be the JT Poston Classic. He was the first round leader here a year ago. Morikawa was second with Seamus Power. Morikawa got worse in every single round that he played, and JT Poston 63 was his best mark by, was it 5 strokes? Yeah. 5 strokes last year, but he has 3 top 10s in his past 5 starts, and he does have a victory. I think he won at this course. Maybe I'm misremembering that. Let's go back and see here. Did he win? I have the notes in front of me. No, he never ended up winning the Heritage, so I'm wrong on that. He ended up winning at he ended up winning at Wyndham, yeah, the correlation course. But he has a bunch of top 10s. He has 4 top 10s. Heritage, yeah. So he's played this tournament 6 times in his career. He has top 10s in 4 of those starts. He's missed the cut the other 2 times. So you might just have to take a chance on him, honestly. And the winners here have been 5-1, 30-1, 50-1, 100-1 over the past. I remember betting Webb Simpson at 40-1 the year he won. The Panama in 2019. I forget what he was, but I think he was the one who came. I think CT Pan came second to JT Poston at the Wyndham the year before, or something crazy like that. There was some sort of weird correlation. Wes Bryant was 80-1. Kadire was 300-1, and when we hit Brendan Grace, he was 40-1 in his victory in 2016. The week after, Danny Willett ended up winning the Masters. So that's what we've seen historically from this course. When we come back from the other side, we'll dig into the research, the modeling, and guessing the odds. Outdoor golf season is almost here, but is your swing ready? With 126 X-Golf locations across 38 states, it's never been easier to dial in your swing year-round. I can speak to this. Going to the simulators all winter long, especially the good ones. You can go to crappy simulators. You don't want to go there. You want to go to X-Golf and really prep your game and hit the season firing. X-Golf's state-of-the-art simulators let you play full rounds, tee to green with unmatched short game realism. X-Golf's auto tee system ensures you're always ready to bomb a drive. No delays or automatic 2-putts, just real, competitive golf in a lively sports bar environment. Love a little competition? X-Golf's handicap leagues and tournaments give every golfer a shot at winning incredible prizes. Upcoming spring tournaments include the Majors, where you could win a beach or mountain vacation, or the Cinco de Mayo Scramble, win a trip to New Belgium Brewery in Asheville, and that is just the start. So visit playxgolf.com to find your nearest X-Golf and book your tee time today. Again, trust me on this, you're going to want to go to X-Golf, so visit playxgolf.com. Is your hair thinning? You might want to do something about that. That's why I recommend Nutrafol. Let Nutrafol target the key root causes of your thinning hair and help you grow stronger, healthier strands from within. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men that are tailored to different life stages, such as a plant-based lifestyle, so you can get exactly what you need and customize it to yourself. Building hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required, automated deliveries, and free shipping keep you on track. Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering my listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code PatMayo. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code PatMayo. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code PatMayo. Fellas, your wife is already probably pretty familiar with Skims. I know my wife was when I got my Skims in the mail. They're like, "What, did you get me something from Skims?" I'm like, "No, got it for myself," because they're big into men's underwear right now. I've already mentioned that I used to wear boxer shorts, like the bunchy ones, make you look like you have like fupas on the go at all time. You don't want those. We're in 2025. You want some nice stretchy shorts because you're probably an active guy, and even if you aren't, you just want the most comfortable version of underwear that you want, and that is why you need to go to Skims and get their underwear right now. It is the most comfortable pair of underwear I've ever worn. As I mentioned before, like I said, it's like you're wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Even though I wear underwear every day, I had not switched to the underwear that was right for me. And now I can wear them to bed, I can wear them working out, I can wear them playing golf, and I can wear them while I'm doing this show and reading this ad to you. That's why I love the stretch briefs. Those are the ones that I like the best. Now you can get the 3-inch boxer brief if you're a traveler and you go around, like those are really good too, but I love the stretch briefs. Those are the ones that I'm wearing 24/7 these days. Not the same pair, mind you, I do wash them, but I bought so many that I just have it in my entire wardrobe right now. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com and any Skims store. Let them know that I sent you as well. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select my show in the drop-down menu that follows, Pat Mayo Experience, in case you don't know what you're listening to. Skims is the official underwear partner of the NBA, WNBA, and USA Basketball. Skims.com. We're back. I do want to remind you that the tickets did go on sale to the live show, but if you want to win a free trip to Toronto, airfare, hotels, whatever it might be, you got to be Canadian and live outside of Ontario to qualify. But if you just click on the link, I'll have it down in the description as well. Pat Mayo's Canadian Open Experience. All you got to do is sign up for CoolBet right there. And you log in, sign in. So again, Canadians outside of Ontario. Then you just opt into this competition for every $10 that you wager on the Valero, the Masters, or the Heritage, and then it closes, you will get a ballot into the draw. You get Jays tickets, Canadian Open tickets, tickets to my show, airfare, hotels. If you bet on golf and you live in Canada outside of Ontario, you might as well get in and win a free trip out of it. It's not like the odds are significantly different. They're usually better at CoolBet as it is anyway. So that's just a path that I would take if that's the route that you want to go down. So go to coolbet.com and you can check that out. Or if you just hit the description right now, you can find the link directly to there. And it really does help out our show. And the more people that we can get in this giveaway draw, the more giveaway draws that we can do for simply betting on golf, something you are probably doing anyway. Let's take a look at my custom model for this tournament. And it works, so I'm not going to change it. And there's a lot of crap going into this one. But over the years, again, I've had a lot of success at this tournament, so I don't feel like I should change it. Maybe I should, because it's a signature event now, and this was more geared towards when it was an evener field full of lesser talent, but we'll see. I'll go back and backtest it a few times this week and see the results. You can always do that, by the way. If you go up to the field, and click on this tab at the top on Fantasy National, you can go and back test all the models you want to. In terms of our time machine, it'll give you the stats of the tournaments leading into each of the year's events. So if I want to go back and check out how it did last year, we can do that. Maybe it didn't work at all. I don't recall having I remember I bet on Sahith and bet on Hoagie, and neither of them won. So let's see. Model rank a year ago and where they finished. Scheffler was first. He came first. Hoagie was second. He came 18th. Ludwig was third. He came 10th. Lowry was fourth, came 64th, almost dead last. Oh, yeah, how'd he finish again? Dead last. Yeah, great week, though. Thanks. Number 5 was Xander, came 18th. Connors, Akshay, Cam Young. Then there was Wyndham Clark, was 9th, came in 3rd. It was okay. Not great by any stretch of the imagination. Just because you had a lot of good players who absolutely blew up a year ago. But if you had Scotty, Hoagie, I really want to remember what happened to Hoagie now. Hoagie Beach. See what happened to him at the Heritage a year ago. I vividly remember him being up there. And I think he took like a quad or something like that at the very last second. What did he shoot on the final day? Hoagie shot a 74. Now I need to go research this a little bit more and look at the shot by shot. Tom Hoagie Heritage 2024 scorecard. Real compelling stuff here, especially if you're listening to the audio podcast on it. If you're listening to the audio podcast, don't be afraid to scroll down and give this episode 5 stars. Stuff like that helps our discoverability with all of this. So, I would very much appreciate that if you did. If you're watching this on YouTube, sub to the channel. If you have not, we just passed 50,000 subs. Very exciting for me. Maybe they'll send me a plaque. Who knows? So where are we at here? I just remember being tilted to the tits about this. And maybe I just am misremembering. Where's Hoagie? Tom Hoagie. All right, what happened here? What happened? He shot +3 on the final day to finish at -9. Why won't... There we go. Tom Hoagie. Now I'm just on his... Great. Scorecards for Tom Hoagie. Really wish the PGA Tour website was a lot better and would load a lot faster, especially for someone who has awesome internet like myself, that this should be as fast as possible. Tournaments, we want to go to the Heritage, Century, Players, RBC Heritage. There we go. Let's see. Round 1, round 2, round... All right, there it is. Took a 9 on 18. Yeah, vividly remember that. So he dropped from, because I had the top... I can't remember if I had the top 5 or the top 8 each way on him. So that he was at -2, which would have... So he was 5 strokes worse going into it. So we look at it, he shot a 74. If he had just made par, he would have been, 69. So 5 strokes better. 5 strokes better puts him at -14, and -14 was inside the top 5. Because of course it was. That's how it had to go for me and Tom Hoagie. I'm sorry I had to relive that live on the show, but here we are. This is what we do on the show sometimes. So that was the time machine if you want to go back. It's not a hot tub time machine. It's just a regular old time machine, but that's the way that you can do it. Back to the modeling itself, if you do want to make your own, I got birdies are better gained at 5%, ball striking 5%, par 5s at 5%. I put greens and regulation gained in at 0%, just so sometimes I just like looking at other stats if that leans me as a tie break one way or another. Approach at 25, tee to green at 10, around the green at 10, par 4s at 10, par 3s 175 to 200 at 5%, good drives gained at 10%, putting 10, opportunities gained 10%. Let's load that up and let it tell us that, I already do have it loaded. Who is the best player this week? Colin Morikawa, because of course he is. It's a stat model. How couldn't he be number 1 over the past 24 rounds? Scotty second, JT, Henley, and Lowry. Oh, good. I can't wait to... Hopefully Lowry wins the Masters, so I don't feel compelled to bet on him again next week, where, he just doesn't win every single year, but usually looks pretty good every second year at the Heritage. Straka Burger, How's Your Burger, Bud Colley, Michael Kim, Lucas Glover, Fleetwood, Griffin, Wacky Valimaki, Nick Taylor, Ryan Gerard, Custy Gerard has been pretty good here over the past little bit. He has the right type of ball striking for this event, especially if it gets windy. Just the way that he hits the ball off the face, I think is just so conducive to playing in the wind. And his short game actually showed up last time around, but the putter's been really good. Usually he's a disaster around the green. That wasn't the case at Valero, but he also doesn't normally lose as many strokes off the tee either. And he's usually a much better iron player. I think he actually kind of fits the right skill set. Is he going to go beat Scotty Scheffler? Probably not. And the other elite players in this field, but I do think that he's a very good name from the bottom to go look at. Obviously, when we get the weather forecast and when Jeff and I recap the Masters and talk about the Heritage, no research show next week. I'm not doing the Zurich, and I'm going to be in Europe, so just not doing that. So you can, I'll have shows all week, obviously, new shows, but it won't be about the Zurich, put it that way. We got the NFL draft next week. Go to Underdog right now, too, by the way. Underdog is going to be doing a whole bunch of draft stuff. If you want to get in and they're going to have make the cut, miss the cut props every single week in the pick'em game now too. They're not going to have them for the Heritage because there is no cut. But the next time that we do get a cut event, like having it at the Masters made it so accessible for so many people. And if you use code Mayo right now at Underdog, you can get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Plus, you get the free pick, and there's a huge NBA. I'm actually going to have an NBA show this week, I believe, on Tuesday previewing the playoffs. There's a gigantic guaranteed prize pool for some of the drafts that are up there this week, too. So if you want to get in the NBA streets, you can go make your rankings on Underdog, and then you can utilize that deposit bonus of $1,000 to go get yourself in if you want to go waste some money on NBA. I'm going to go waste some money on NBA. I don't really know that much about the NBA, but I want to get in because these contests are so damn good. You should get in on them too. Code Mayo at Underdog get you that bonus, and just wanted to tell you about that. All right, we'll go back to Fantasy National. Check out some of the other players. So you know who the good players are going to be. If we just throw in course history and take a look over time, we find our courses here on the right-hand side. It has the British version of Harbour, by the way. There is the U. I mean, I'm very familiar with that. Us in the Commonwealth are very familiar with that. And I guess old-timey courses also have the same thing. If we look back past 24 rounds of just the modeling from Harbour Town, you get most of the guys that we have seen and maybe some underperformers as well, the guys that should be better. Cantlay, Fitz, Henley, Morikawa, Spieth, Berger, Lowry, Thomas, Scheffler, Connors end up becoming the top 10 of just Harbour Town numbers. And then you take a look at Harman, Sungjae, Rose, Straka, Bez. Straka might actually be a good play here. I know that I bet him at the Masters. He had a terrible round 1 and a great round 2 until the final hole where he ended up missing the cut because of it. But now everyone's just going to be off his scent. His odds will probably be buried by the time that we get down to that part of the board. That I just think he makes a very intriguing play here because this course sets up for exactly what he does well. And He just won at a die course at the Amex. JT Poston won the John Deere. That's what I'm thinking about. And, I mean, it's probably another one to go look at. Probably less prevalent because of all the big name players in the field now. And those guys obviously don't play in the JDC. Michael Kim's probably another one to look at, too. This could be a nice opportunity for him, depending on how he finishes up this weekend. I mean, he just came on the show. Maybe we got to bet Michael Kim again at like 75-1 or whatever he comes in at. Should be a good Rosie course as well. He might be too gassed from contending over the weekend. I mean, you could say most years you try to fade the guys that do well at the Masters, but Scotty blew up that narrative last year, winning them both in back-to-back weeks. It's very intriguing to think about. Sometimes I do like to fade some of the guys that grind all weekend. There used to be a thing here where you'd really want to target some of the guys who missed the cut at the Masters who were playing in this tournament. That was Kadira, that was Brendan Grace, just guys who showed pretty decent ball striking numbers, or guys who missed the cut because they were just they were getting themselves prepared for Heritage and not the whole experience of the first major. And guys go out and they peak and they try to peak at that time. They just don't quite have enough juice left after the Masters. That's all psychological bullshit, though. You can either read into it or completely throw it away. It's golf betting. That's kind of how you have to do everything anyway. That's where I'm at with it. Hopefully Adam had one. He's a guy I drafted a ton in the underdog drafts for the rest of the season because he's in all these signature events, but he's not any good anymore. So he needs to get himself back into the signature events next year, maybe even keep his tour card and get back into the majors by playing all these lesser events. I wrote about that a week ago. So I need him to start showing up a little bit. This is always a course where I've liked Hadwin a lot. Let's take a look at Wyndham, though. Not Wyndham Clark. We'll take a look at the Wyndham Championship and just see if we can find a few guys down in this field. It might actually be helpful if we just run the model. Billy Ho, Sungjae, Henley, Denny, Siwoo, Harris English. Siwoo might be the play. He didn't get into the Masters, and this has always been a jam for him, this course. A lot of times over the years, obviously he lost in that playoff to Kadira, but this would be like the last of his like mini course slam. He's won Sawgrass, he's won Wyndham, he's won Amex, he's won Sony. Like these are the courses where Siwoo ends up playing well, and he's had some. It was really only the second. That's only his top 10. I actually thought he'd played a lot better. He cannot putt at this course at all. Let's see how he's playing coming in. Not great, Bob. Missed 2 cuts in a row. No top 10s for old Siwoo so far this season. So I guess that's why he's not in any of the majors at this point. He's going to have to go qualify. I always thought it'd be a pretty good Ben An track as well, if that was a spot you were looking at. Obviously, he's played the Wyndham pretty well based on these numbers. Harris English, too, another one. And Ben An did make the cut at the Masters and showing some pretty good form coming in. You always worry if he can make enough putts, but Let's see, at the Wyndham, he came 3rd, 35th, and 18th. Hasn't played it since 2021. We take a look at the Heritage. He has one top 10. That was in 2018. Played it very poorly a year ago, mainly because, as you can see, he lost 11.6 strokes between chipping and putting. Now, the chipping is a huge outlier. The putting, I mean, just some weeks Ben Ann's going to lose 8 strokes putting. It's going to happen. Historically, very good around the greens, although it has not been a key part of his game recently. But the driver is back. The irons have started to get a little bit better. He was chipping the ball from what I could see. I didn't look at the stats yet on Ben Ann, because why would you? I do have him as a top 20 this week, but maybe he can rally back on the weekend. Who knows? But his short game was looking pretty good when he chipped in on 16 on Friday, which I did see. So take that with a grain of salt. That's what we're looking. Rose has been pretty good there as well. Kirk, Aaron Rye obviously won it a year ago. Grazerman was second a year ago. If he doesn't make that quad, he probably wins the Wyndham. So there's a lot of decent. Did Hisatune get in? Let's see. Hisatune is in the field as of right now. He's been playing some decent golf recently, and he was the one who put on the Ritz at the Wyndham last year. I believe he came in 3rd place. I was there. I should remember this stuff. Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the guys that you look at for these sorts of courses. Valspar, like long course like Houston, T47. Valero, 5th. Valspar, 4th. He's starting to trend up a little bit. 10th in Mexico. Maybe this field is too strong for him, but Hisatune in general is someone who's going to be at the very bottom of the pack. Comes in 3rd. I'm going to say he's 3rd in approach at Sedgefield over his 4 rounds. I just thought it was interesting that he pops up. Let's see where he rates out in the overall model itself. We take a look at Ryo Hisatune. He comes in 37th, but as you can see, he does the right things well, like the key par 3 range. He's inside the top 5. Good drives gained. He's inside that. He's number 6 in greens regulation gained. He's 8th, and I bet you if we shrink this, so he's number 37 on the modeling that I have coming in. I'm going to change this to the past 12, and I bet you he pops up bigly in that sense. Rio pops up to number 20. Yeah. So all of a sudden he's top 25 and birdies are better. Par 5s, greens and regulation gained, good drives gained, top 10 in putting. The par 3 game has stepped back a little bit, but he's now inside the top 20 of par 4s gained. So this is a course where I think he can compete. It might be punching a bit above his weight to ask him to play well, really well, in a field that involves all of the best players in the world. I just thought that was very interesting. If we do shorten the sample again, Colley, Valimaki, Glover, Spahn, Straka, there's Scheffler, Morikawa, and Lowry are up there too, but as guys from down the board, there's Hoagie again, Gerard's number 13, Jager's 16, Michael Kim is 17, Bridgman, Bobbert. Bobbert might be a good look here as well after he crushed all of our souls with his back 9 to miss the cut at Augusta, but you might just have to get back on the train. Sometimes that works out, and it does feel like a pretty good course for him. He's played these shorter courses really well. Obviously, it's not, it's a golf links. I wouldn't call this, it's more of a parkland tree course, but it is on the water. We've seen him do well at coastal courses. He plays really well when it's windy AF out, and he plays easy and difficult course as well. If it's an average course, not so much for him. And rounds here either tend to skew difficult or easy depending on the wind. Even both of his wins last year in Hamilton and at the Scottish, they're not super long courses. And he did have some good form coming into the Masters, and some guys just psych themselves at the Masters, and that ends up being what it is. Trying to guess the odds for the Heritage is kind of futile, but Scotty's going to be the favorite. Rory is going to be second, and they're probably going to be 5-1 and 6-1. After that, Morikawa. I wonder who's 4th. That's a really good question, because they might give it to Cantlay because of the amazing course history that he has. Xander has looked better, and he's just going to fly up to the top of the board here recently. Xander was the other guy in that lineup. That's who it was. Could not remember who the other guy was. It was Xander Schauffele, along with Cantlay, Bryson, and Bill Haas to go with Kadira and Siwoo. It took me an hour to figure out, but here we are. We finally got that part done. Who else do we have? Tommy will be up there. Tommy will be like 25-1. Poston will get overvalued because everyone will bet him this week, and he'll open at 66 and he'll close at 40, and he'll come in like 17th place because that's usually what happens to the popular sleeper of the week. But 4th in the field, again, you'll see it the same way that it was at the Masters. Scotty, Rory, Morikawa. Then you're going to have a mix of Xander, JT, Spieth will be overinflated, Cantlay will be up there, and Ludwig will be up there too. How many of those? If Cantlay is like 22-1, I'm probably going to bet Cantlay. That's such a recipe for disaster and not winning bets. That's likely where I'll be this week. Thank you for tuning in to the RBC Heritage. Obviously, Jeff and I will have the full Masters recap on Monday, unless Shane Lowry wins. Then we'll probably go live on Sunday night celebrating and gloating because that's what we do. The ratings were off the charts for the round one show after we hit Justin Rose. We got to capitalize on that momentum. I hope you guys tailed along with Justin Rose. It's always fun winning money at the Masters, and I saw over 700 people tailed along with me and Cam and Byron as well from the Best Bet show. It's just a bet I was talking about all week. Hope you were one of those people, and I hope you hit a winner at the Masters. Smash like and sub to the channel on the way out, and I will see you next time.
That Mayo experience! Experience!